Hello, everybody, and welcome to Stay Woke. I'm Tina. So, today's topic is going to be about something that everybody's been really wanting to know about their roots and where they came from, what countries they came from. I'm talking about Ancestry.com and 23andMe and some of the others. So, basically, what I wanted to let people know is whenever you send in your sample of your DNA, you are being put into a worldwide network. And what happens is this: when your DNA is being tested, it's not just being tested for what you think it is. As a matter of fact, time and time again, people have been proving Ancestry.com and 23andMe as being false, which basically, you send in your DNA sample and they're sending you a bunch of bullshit. That's basically what's going down with 23andMe and Ancestry.com. What it is they're using your DNA against you when they make these chemical warfare, such as coronavirus and other things that are out there right now that there are no names to, but they have been doing these types of studies and testing people on chemical warfare since before World War I. So, in other words, they are using our DNA and they are making such viruses and other things, to make our bodies do what it's not supposed to do. So, I wanted everybody to be aware of what exactly you're sending your DNA to. Like I said, you are being put into a worldwide network. And then, like I said in my previous videos, this is all part of Agenda 21. And Agenda, again, for those who hasn't seen any of my previous videos, Agenda 21 is population control. Population control through deaths, and also population control as far as controlling you and what you do in your life. So, yeah, that's what this is about. As I've always said this before, if you don't believe me or anything that I have on my videos, please feel free to do your own research and come up with your own conclusions. I can only say by what I've looked up and what I have read myself. I can only talk about my own personal experiences from when I was a kid through my teenage years, and I'll get into those other things about experiences when I was a kid in future videos. But for right now, I want to just talk about what's going on around us, today, and how it relates in so many different ways for Agenda 21. I've talked in my previous videos about the elites. The elites are the people who control the world. For the governments that you see and you vote upon, there are dark governments that you don't even know about. And it's not just one, it's many. And it's not just dark governments from people here on Earth, but also from others. And I always say others are people, or whatever they may be, they're not from here. They're not from Earth. So you've got these types of organizations that are going on around us right now. And like I said, 23andMe, Ancestry.com, as well as some other of these so-called looking into where you came from. I mean, everybody wants to know where they came from, but the fact of it is, these are just ways for them to get your DNA, because they need to make sure that whatever kind of disease or whatever comes, that you can be affected too, because they don't have everybody's DNA. And the easiest way to do it is, hey, there's new technology. You can find out exactly where you're from. You can pinpoint where your family started. It's BS. It's all BS. I'm telling you right now, it is BS. Don't believe it. Don't send in anything to them. Don't do it. It's all a big scam. It's all about Agenda 21. They want to make sure that these germ warfare that they come up with will, in fact, have you to be able to make sure it gets you as well. So always keep that in mind, and never send anything of your DNA to anybody that you don't know personally. You don't know what they're doing. They can say, oh, well, you're going to find out where you're from, but also they use it against you. So in other words, let's say, I'm sure there's some good things out of it as well as the bad part of it. Like, some of the good things of those things is if you have a relative who has committed a crime, a murder, and they have DNA from that murder, but they don't know who that person is, through those types of companies, they can find similar characteristics in our own DNA to be able to find the actual person who is. So in other words, they can find and say, hey, we know this is not the person, but there's enough of genetic DNA in a family resemblance to it. So they're able to find those people that commit those types of crimes. But again, it's just a small part. For everything that you see that's good, there's always a dark part to it. I promise you, for everything and I hate to say this, but every single organization that there is out there, and I do mean everything from cancer research, money's going to cancer research, world hunger, charities around the world, I promise you, and I hate to expose it, but a percentage of that money goes toward dark governments. It really does. You don't know when you donate, you think that it's going to something good, when in fact, a percentage of it is not going to something good. And keep that in mind, because you want to do the right thing and you want to be able to help charities and things like that, but you really, really need to do stay something local. Don't give in to these big charities and things like that, because it's not completely going to where you think it is. And it's sad to say that. We all want to give to charity. We all do. And I do every chance I get. But I make sure who I'm giving it to and exactly where my money is going. I don't just want to hand out and say, oh, okay, I'm going to give to this charity, and then come to find out later on down the line that charity wasn't as it seemed to have been. Which is, we all talk about, well, not here on YouTube, but I have talked with other friends and things like that, where we talked about the Trump University and Trump charities and things like that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The elites, they set up these bogus charities and things like that, and they're not using the money for charity. They are consuming it themselves for whatever propaganda that they want to spread or have money go into. And it's like I said, it's not just the elites that do this. There's other people out there too that think that they're going to get into some sort of society if they follow suit as far as setting up these bogus charities and stuff that are going around. But again, like I said, this is all a part of population control. I know that sounds a little far-fetched to think that, charities have stuff to do with it too, but they do. And that's what I'm trying to explain to everybody. You think that, when you go into a restaurant, like McDonald's or Burger King and stuff, these places have money with the elites. Some of that money is not going just for the companies. They're going to the elites, for the dark governments. That's right, the dark governments. Where do you think that they come up with the funding to make all these types of diseases that are coming out? Where do you think that funding comes from? Because the others aren't giving them that. The only thing the others have given them is ultimatums like, hey, look, you got to dig up oil, you got to dig up coal, you have to get these things for us, because where we came from, we don't have those resources anymore. Because we already know right now in this day and age, we don't need coal, we don't need oil. We don't need certain types of minerals that we need to make electricity, because we have natural resources such as running water or air or the sun. We don't need those things anymore. So, if you think about it, then why are we doing it? We're not doing it for ourselves. It's the others that need us to basically rape our earth of natural resources that we have already here in case something happens to our regular resources. So in other words, like I said, we don't need coal. We don't need oil. But they do, because where they come from, they don't have those natural resources anymore. They've gone through them, and for whatever reason, they had to leave where they're from to come here to get it from us. And even so, let me just even go back a little further, even before that. As I mentioned in my other videos, we as humans today are not natural. We have been compromised. We did not start out this way. The others made us this way. They needed to make us capable of being able to, one, reproduce and have some sort of intelligence. And the reason why they needed that is because they needed us to be smart enough to run certain types of machines. They needed us to do their work for them, in other words. They needed us, because there's more of us than there are of them, to do those things, to dig up our earth for them so they can carry those materials off somewhere else. We are manipulated. Our bodies have been manipulated. We did not start off this way. We did not start off in the way that we did. I mean, think about it. If we look through our evolution and how many thousands of years it takes to get from point A to point B and so on and so forth to where we are right now. From our last thing that we knew that we was even close to was chimpanzee, orangutan, and gorilla. And somehow or another, we took a leaps and bounds from all that to what we are today. And they cannot find that common link. Some people think it's Bigfoot, whatever have you, mind you, da-da-da-da, that's here, no there. But the point of it is, we did not start off this way. We were made this way. They made us. Up until 20,000 years ago, there were not white people here. There weren't no blonde hair, blue-eyed people here at all. There was none. Our governments have been lying to us about where exactly we started from, because in all honesty, they don't know, because there's no history of it. There's, of course, you got history of the pharaohs and all that, okay, over there. But the thing of it is, here in the United States, our own government has covered up so much here in the United States because they wanted an all-white nation. Because when they came here, there was already people here. They've lied to us. They've lied to us over the hundreds of years. They've lied to us. They have destroyed what evidence was left behind on this continent, and as far as the United States is concerned, mounds and monuments and pyramids. They have intentionally gotten rid of them, covered them up, or blown them up because they didn't want the American people to know exactly what was already here and what they already took. In other words, and this is what people don't realize. The United States of America was made upon stolen land. In other words, there was not just one civilization that was killed, but there was a multitude of civilizations that were killed for our land that we know it now. But the United States are the ones who write the history, and they don't want you to know about all those nasty things that they did. They didn't care about families. They didn't care about babies. They went in and basically slaughtered people. There was no treaties. And when they did do treaties, they didn't stick to them. They never stuck to them. And right now, there are supposedly supposed to be all these different reservations scattered across the United States, and now there's only a handful of them, especially in the Dakotas. Once they had a giant reserve there, and then once the whites found out that, hey, there's gold up there, they're like, well, treaty don't matter. We're just going to go and take it anyway. It didn't matter. And the sad thing about that is it's still going on today. It is still going on today, because the truth of it is the United States is not as great as people think it is. It's got a lot of dirty history, and it's got a lot of blood on its hands from its dirty dealings. And it's not just from back then, but it's still going on today. It's still going on today. Our governments are still using us as guinea pigs through everything. Through water, through food. I mean, nothing that we have right now is natural. There's not one thing that you can buy in a grocery store that is natural or organic. It may say, yeah, organic, but I promise you it's not. Because the thing of it is, our soil as it is right now, because we're digging up all these minerals and everything that our soil needs to be able to produce, grow the vegetables that we need, to not only just to feed ourselves, but to feed our livestock, it's no longer viable. So scientists had to come up with different ways to change how that is. In other words, so when you buy seeds, when you buy that seed, that is a genetically altered seed, which means it's not natural. It's not a natural thing. Sure, it has natural components in it, but it is not a natural thing. It has been compromised. And these are things I want people to be aware of, is that, man, you can't trust anything. That's what this video is basically about. You can't trust anything. And like I said, even if you don't want to trust me, that's fine, but I want you to do your own research. I encourage everybody that watches my videos, please do your own research and come up with your own conclusions. I am just here to open your eyes to it, to make you look beyond what you're being told. I hope that, someone out there can listen to these and get out there and do their own research and maybe open up someone else's eyes just as I have theirs. And that's why I always call these videos that I make Stay Woke, because I firmly believe once you are woke, you see everything as it is. In other words, there's nothing clouding it up. You see it as it is. So I need everybody to stay woke, be aware of what's going on around you, prepare your families for what's coming, and believe me, it is coming. I'm going to keep saying this until hopefully everybody gets the word out there. Always, always, always have plan B, plan C, D, whatever it is that you might need for your family, because here before long, it's going to get rough before it gets a lot better. I know it seems like right now that maybe our economy is starting to get back to where it needs to be by people being let out of quarantine. But the fact of it is, it's premature. It is just their way to get up the numbers. They need those numbers to get up. So they want people to get antsy. They want to give false information out there. Why? That's why people being out there, because they need the numbers up. They need the numbers up so they can bring our numbers down. Point blank. Don't fall for it. So until our next video, I hope that you all stay safe, and please stay woke and keep your family safe.